gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Am I the only one that hears this and immediately thinks Dazed and Confused?
Dazed and Confused.
Love this movie. I love that movie in general, but this
Yes, one of my favorites.
And the only one, actually, that's the movie that gave us Matthew McConaughey. I will credit that till the day I die. That is the movie that gave you Matthew McConaughey. He was only supposed to be
quit.
He was only supposed to be in one scene. One scene, and then he kind of just did something himself, and the director said, you know what, we like that. Do it again. They brought him in a whole bunch of different times, and that's how we got Matthew McConaughey.
Created a character.
Hey.
But Waiver Wednesday, I know we've got some lineup questions.
Yes.
We'll get to it, but starting off with quarterback, I was almost going to put Joe Flacco in there, but I'm going to give him a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch
I went with the Sam Darnold. I mean, he torched Tampa last week, had over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. And if you're looking for a quarterback, Sam Darnold might be the guy, at least for a Band-Aid for a week or two.
Sam Darnold, I've always loved, especially at his time at USC, but the last couple years with fantasy football, he's just been so sporadic. I've stayed away. Personally, my pickup this week is Mac Jones. If Brock Purdy does not start, that's the outlier, obviously. But if Mac goes out and plays against Tampa Bay, as we just stated, gave up a lot of points to Sam Darnold last week. They're 28th in points given up to quarterbacks in fantasy football this year. And Mac Jones, still, from what I could tell, rostered in less than 2% of your guys' leagues right now. So if you're needing a quarterback, if you are one of those guys that just can't really respect Aaron Rodgers or some of these lower guys, maybe your Trevor Lawrence's still kind of on the bubble of what you want, Mac Jones has produced every single week he's been out there as the starter, and the 49ers have been winning, so I would say ride with Mac.
At running back, I went with Michael Carter. With all the injuries in Arizona, we already talked about Amari and his deal, but he got 23 touches last week, and officially Arizona is calling him the running back one. So, I mean, running backs are hit and miss. I know there is some injuries over in San Diego, or the Chargers. I know that there's a couple that are kind of up in the air with who's going to get more carries. I think they'll roll with the hot hand, but this week I roll with Michael Carter.
Running backs were tricky for me. I know we had a text message earlier in the week that said that they were absolutely demoralized at running back, and so am I. So I had to take a little deep dive here and figure out who was going to be the guy here. Personally, I know a lot of you are picking up the running backs from the Chargers. I like Hassan Haskins if you are going in that area, but this will be a running back by committee until Omari and Hampton gets back, so I wouldn't expect either of them to be huge number getters for you. But the one that I think that everybody really should look at if your league still has him available is Rico Dowdle. Because with Chuba Hubbard still kind of dealing with an injury, Rico had a 200-yard game last week against Miami, and granted, Miami's rush defense is awful.
Horrible.
But Rico was also a proven running back in every instance where he has started. So if Rico gets the nod again as the starting running back one in Carolina, I'd say run with him. He could pick up some good numbers for you.
And over at wide receiver, with San Francisco's top wideouts out, and we saw what Kendrick Bourne brought with Mac Jones. If Mac Jones plays, I would definitely go with Kendrick Bourne because they already have a relationship. Yep. They worked well together in New England and now Frisco. I think if you're looking for a wide receiver, Kendrick Bourne might just be that guy.
And you know what? I had Kendrick Bourne as well, but for the sake of giving you guys another option, instead of just piggybacking off Sparky's brilliant mind here, I'm going to go with Tyquan Thornton from Kansas City. We've talked about him a couple times. He's only rostered in about 10 to 11% of your guys' leagues right now, and he has gotten a healthy amount of targets from Patrick Mahomes, gaining that confidence with this receiver that they desperately need right now. I know I said it yesterday. There's not a lot of guys outside of Juju Smith-Schuster that get the ball thrown to them multiple times in a game, and at this point, Thornton seems to be that other guy, so I would ride with him.
And at tight end, I put A.J. Barner. I'm going to ride with the Seahawks this week. Not only is he tied for most touchdowns in the season for a tight end, but he seems to be that guy that Sam Darnold relies on.
Oh, Sam loves his tight end, much like Tua loves his. But I'm going to throw one out there for you guys that I saw last week, and I heard a story that's really making me believe this, and I'll explain why. I'm going to tell you guys to take Theo Johnson from the Giants. Okay, 2% roster spot or roster taken in most of your fantasy football leagues. So promise you he is there. Granted, they're going against the Eagles on Thursday, and you know how we feel about Thursday night games. But Jackson Dart and Theo have a very, very good relationship, almost best friend level relationship. And Theo was a main target for him last week against the Saints. 7 receptions, 33 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Those 2 big touchdowns in the red zone are going to continue as the season progresses with a rookie quarterback. And as we all know, rookie quarterbacks need a big body receiver, a big tight end to give them that safety blanket that they require to be successful. I think Theo is that guy for the Giants. So personally, if you're looking for a guy that's going to get you a couple touchdowns, maybe you need someone to fill a spot for tight end for a week, Theo Johnson might be your guy.
And going through our listeners' text is the first one, is CD playing this weekend?
That I am not 100% sure. I have not heard anything as of yet. Wouldn't be surprised if he does come back. But with the success that Dallas saw last weekend, also wouldn't be surprised if they say, hey, take another week. George and Dak can handle it.
The last I read, he was pushing to play last week and that he is 50-50 for this week. So we'll keep you posted throughout the week. The
Same
next
with
one
Lamar.
Says Travis Kelce or Darren Waller this week.
Ooh, that's a toughie. Personally, I'm going to have to go with Darren Waller. He is heating up, and honestly, Miami's offense does seem like they want to run through him, whereas Kansas City, although we love Travis Kelce Swift, but I mean, you can't deny that his play has regressed in the last couple of years, so I think your higher ceiling will be with Darren.
What kicker should I pick? I got Cardi from the Rams or McManus from the Packers, or even Lutz in Denver.
Ooh, Lutz in Denver is always a solid choice,
is Lutz
to be honest.
Kicking in Denver?
I don't know if he is.
I know there's a couple that are coming off of the IR that I'm not sure if they're playing. I personally like McManus.
McManus is, I mean, he's the top point getter, isn't he, right now for
Well,
kickers?
it was the Colts kicker until he dropped last week.
True, and Sly from Tennessee, I know, is getting a lot of points as well, but that's just because, again, as we said earlier, Tennessee is awful.
That's how they score.
Personally, I have to ride with Sparky. I think McManus is probably your best bet, although I love Will Lutz. I've won leagues with Will Lutz just because of how accurate he is. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if you have a chance to take McManus, I would probably take McManus.
And I will say, when you're looking for kickers, look at the stats, look at the game log, and see how many misses they have. Yeah, because it's been a crazy year for kickers.
And actually, I'm sorry, I'm getting McManus switched up with Tampa Bay's kicker McLaughlin. So McLaughlin was the one that's been money. McManus is still pretty good money though with Green Bay, so I would still ride with him.
The next one says, "Hey guys, will you drop or keep Judy and get Rashid?
Yes. Or
should I roll with Vital from the Chargers?" And that brings up the same question because the Chargers got a couple running backs, and I think it's just going to be more 50-50 who's
really
getting hot.
Personally, yes, drop Jerry Jeudy right now because he has not been I have him as well, and it's been a lackluster year. And
Shahid's been looking good.
Shahid, I picked him up last week just to have an extra wide receiver in our CBS league, and I'm sorry, I always get Shahid and the other guy mixed up from the Saints. Shahid's the one in Buffalo, right?
Shahid is the
Saints guy. Okay, good. No, yeah, that is the one I picked up then. His big 80-yard touchdown got me like massive points in the league. So Shahid I have always have a soft spot for just because he's been that deep threat for the Saints for a couple years. Problem is that those balls come few and far between because of who's throwing them. So I personally, it's a really hard thing for me to tell you to do because Jerry Jeudy has been so awful, but I wouldn't drop him for one of the LA Charger running backs only because, like I told you a little bit ago during the waiver wire, this will be a running back by committee, which means neither Vidal or Hassan are going to be getting the bulk of the carries, if that many carries at all.
It's just like rolling dice, and
exactly.
Hopefully you hit gold. The next one says, Gannon gets a fine for come on, you got to be better than that. Kind of slap to the chest, but Andy Reid can shoulder bump Kelce without any issues. Soft.
No, I'm glad someone brought that up because you're right. I mean, we've seen Andy Reid and Travis yelling at each other, just getting in each other's faces on the sideline. But here's the difference. Andy never really put hands on him. A shoulder check you can get away with kind of just saying, it was just kind of a shoulder brush that went a little harder than expected. Putting hands on a guy, that's completely different. So I agree with you, soft and definite favoritism, but when you really boil it down, there is a massive difference between the two.
The next one says, when I hear Slow Ride, I immediately think, hey, that was on Guitar Hero.
That was on Guitar Hero. You're absolutely correct. And I know a lot of people that feel the exact same way about a whole bunch of different rock songs that I love.
And the last one says, watch out for the Yankees. It's not over. And don't write off the Phillies. They can get hot at any time.
Look.
Too much talent to think they'll get swept, but we will find out today.
Yanks surprised me last night. I'm not going to lie to you. You went down 6-1, and I thought for sure this was done. But then I was at my nephew's football game. My brother-in-law looked at me and said, the Yankees are tied. And I said, excuse me?
And they should have done what you said.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Blocked Judge.
again, I can only give you the answer. I can't have you, take the answer. Why you don't Barry Bonds Judge, I will never know. Just don't let him swing the bat. It's that simple. Honestly, at this point, I would say the same thing about Shohei if Shohei wasn't a base stealer too. If Shohei was slow, I would be saying, Philly, just walk him. But then again, we're not losing because of Shohei Ohtani, to be completely honest with you. We're losing because of Teoscar Hernandez and all of these ridiculous hits by Kike. But at the end of the day, I appreciate that you have more faith than me in my Phils. Series is over. We're done.